The blog of short stories that I wrote are typically from a prompt. I found a prompt on Pinterest or on another website that was interesting, or I just used an aesthetic or movie quotes taken out of context. One of them is that. One of the titles is that. And you'll probably hear me quote movies accidentally in the stories anyway, or reference things that sound pretty similar to a movie quote. That's just what I do. So today's story is called The Substance, and it's from a writing prompt that was attempting to be a little bit spooky. I think the prompt was meant to be pretty fine and mediocre and gentle, but I took it in a spooky direction. So we'll see if you think so. I'm taking my glasses off because the glare of the screen is visible if I wear them. Okay, so here's the writing prompt. At first we thought the black liquid was oil, that we'd struck it rich, and we'd be able to retire and live in leisure. We actually started writing down all the ways that we could spend the money. Our first choice was, and that's the prompt, so we'll pick up from there. Our first choice was buying an island, or maybe a castle. We could each build a home that we would never want to leave. A life we'd be able to stay in forever. We talked of cars that we would drive for fun, that had fully functioning air conditioners and would never break down. Then the liquid moved, oozing out of the hole that we found it in and up against gravity, like it lived. That killed our plans and our technician. Before we could make a move, it engulfed Fred, suffocating him before he could scream, and burning his flesh off. It must be some kind of magnetic acid, Tyler yelled, frozen in place, agape with horror. We all stood up, stumbling for the exit, terrified that it might follow us out, but for the time being it seemed to be satisfied with Fred. As we fled the cave back to the surface, Cole stood there sharpening the pickaxes, and at the sight of all of us, he put down the one in his hand and picked up his clipboard. "You fellas ain't scheduled for a break yet," he barked. "Get back to work, you lazy—" "Fred's dead," I blurted. Cole blinked back blatantly. "What do you mean, dead?" "We struck an unknown substance. We thought it was oil, so we kept digging. But it wasn't oil, and it ate Fred," Tyler explained. Joseph, our crew member, kept his eyes on the mouth of the cave. "You idiots," Cole replied. "It's probably tar. You just let him fall in." "No, sir, it was alive, I swear," Tyler yelled in a trembling voice, jutting his hand out in front of him as in a panicked desperation. "He didn't fall in. It came out and it got him." At Tyler's insistence, Cole stopped his arguing. "Well, I better call this in then," he replied slowly, stepping around the table, grumbling about repercussions and walking into the command center, a large beige tent large enough to park a vehicle under. He picked up the corded phone landline and slowly pressed the numbers to reach our employer. We all scooted in closer to hear the words, but Cole gave us a sharp look, waving us away with one hand. Yes, sir," he began. "It seems some of the men have found something peculiar out here, sir." "Oh, how would I describe it?" He looked back around at the group of us. "We thought it was oil, sir," Joseph whispered. Cole repeated the information over the phone. "Except it moved against gravity, floating like it had a mind of its own," Tyler elaborated. "And it ate Fred! It took the skin clean off him!" Cole's brow furrowed, but he repeated what we told him to the man on the phone. Cole waited, listening to the other man, who took a full 20 seconds before replying. Yes, sir. Loud and clear, sir." "Yes, sir." No, sir, we haven't gone back in." "Of course, sir." "Thank you, sir." He hung the phone back on the receiver, turning to us. "We are not to re-enter the mine, understood?" "Yeah," Tyler sighed in relief. "What are we gonna do then?" "We will act as guards night and day until Mr. Beauregard can attend to it." "You mean we have to stay here with our backs to it? The stuff that killed Fred?" I protested. "Your salaries will be doubled," Cole offered as incentive. The men took this as a good thing, but I was convinced they only raised our salaries because they didn't expect us to survive. Tyler whooped and hollered. "I'll take first shift," he offered. "Joseph, you in?" Joseph agreed to join him, and the two picked up guns from the crate of weapons, walking back to the mine entrance. Cole noticed my hesitation. "Problem?" I considered my options. Stay and wait to probably die by this unknown substance, or ask to leave and likely get killed to keep the secret? No problem, I responded, thinking I'd got a better chance at escaping with my life if I played along. That was 2 days ago. Now Tyler's dead, and so is Joseph and Mick and Tristan. Our employer still hasn't arrived or sent backup, and I'm hiding in a different cave up the hill. I don't know if Cole is looking for me or if he has already assumed the substance got me. Maybe the substance got him. Who the hell knows? My fingers are white from clutching the gun in my hand. I don't know why I bother. Bullets are useless against this stuff. I might as well die here. I've got a plan worked out, though. Tonight, I will steal a car and make a run for it while everyone sleeps. Everyone who's left, I guess. The Jeep still has gas in it. I just hope it's enough to make it to the nearest town. I'm waiting for the sun to set. My stomach growls audibly and I glare at it. Something moves at the cave entrance. My eyes snap up to look at it, but I see nothing. I look to my left, examining the floor of the cave, and then out of the corner of my eye I see the movement again. My head whips back around to see it, but nothing is there, and it made no noise. Has that little black rock always been there? Shit, I breathe, realizing exactly what has happened. The substance has spread and gotten smart, disguising itself. I must be able to learn from its meals. My options are now to try to get past it, though I have no idea how fast it is, or to go deeper into the cave, hoping that there's some unseen exit or safety strategy further in. That's unlikely, though, and there are too many unknowns at the back of the cave. I guess I'll have to move up my escape plan. It occurs to me that the substance has come looking for more food because it has now eaten everything else. I'm terrified by its potential. I mean, I still don't know much about it. But maybe I can trick it and somehow I can still escape. I consider what I know about my late coworkers. 1 or 2 were factory workers before this, and the rest are ex-military. Meaning this substance, if it really has gained their knowledge, now has the potential to calculate every possible strategy I'm thinking up. I'm watching the substance without blinking. Perhaps it has some weakness I can exploit. I have no reason to believe it can smell me or see me, but it must be able to sense me somehow. So maybe I can distract it, overwhelm it, and just sneak past? Keeping my eyes locked on it, I try to remember what I had seen in the cave around me. Mostly just outcroppings of rocks, or handfuls of pebbles come to mind. I don't know what else is in this space, and I'm starting to panic, unable to think. The only plan that makes any sense in my head is to distract it. Without breaking visual contact, my hand searches the ground slowly, compiling a handful of sand. I convince myself multiple times to move, to make my choice and go, before I can force myself into action. The handful of sand ricochets off the cave wall above the black substance, creating a small cloud of dust, making visibility limited, but I can't back down now. My legs push off the rock beside me, sending my body tumbling through the exit and over the cliffside. Tumbling down the hill, a boulder catches me in the ribs, cutting the skin there and probably bruising it up. I wince, but roll onto my knees, breathing hard, watching the hillside above me. No one calls out to me to give up or surrender, so I look around quickly, deciding to make a run for the vehicle that will be my salvation. The Jeep is alone to one side, and I leap off the ground, determined to reach it. My feet carry me forward, but I don't know if it's fast enough. This creature, this substance, is patient enough that it's waited in the earth for centuries, if not thousands of years. It could certainly let me leave, waiting another 100 years or more for people to come back. Or I could leave. I could get people who are equipped to deal with it, scientists and military personnel. If I stay and let it kill me, if I take the brave path to prevent its escape, who's to say it won't find its own way into town? Reaching the Jeep, I dread that it might be locked, that I might have to smash the window open and possibly cut my arm and make it easier for the substance to get in after I'm driving. I don't have to worry about it though, as it's unlocked. I quickly grab the keys out of the glove compartment, and suddenly I'm flying down the dirt road away from this mess. As I approach the highway half an hour later, I find that an entourage of militarized jeeps, similar to my own, approach from the opposite direction, loaded with men and turrets. Pulling over, I frantically climb out and wave my arms to try to convince them to stop. Maybe it's my uniform or my enthusiastic insistence that persuades them. I don't care which it is, I'm just glad that they pull over. Turn around, I yell. It's not safe, we need help. The reinforcements are looking me over, observing my jeep. Calm down, we're here to help. Don't go to the site! The substance killed everyone! It's alive! It can't be stopped! I plead, but I see the look in their eyes and I know that they think I'm nuts. What can I say to convince them? Who sent you? Was it Cole? Did he call you to come here? Cole's dead too. I haven't seen him in days. This changes things for them. They ignore me, turning to converse with each other. Finally, they turn back to me. We have our orders, we'll deal with this ourselves. They wave for the other vehicles behind them to prepare, and the line of jeeps drive away from me without another word. No, you're driving to your deaths, wait! I bellow, but it makes no difference. I watch hopelessly as they fade away, turning the corner towards the camp, followed by a cloud of dust. They'll bring about the end of the world, I groan. Devastation causing me to slump down and sit in the hot sand beside my jeep. I can't stay here though, so I climb back into it after a moment and resume my trip back towards home. Reaching the highway, I glance into the rearview mirror and immediately choke on my air, fighting to unclick my seatbelt, slamming my hands on the door to push it open. It's locked, and it won't unlock, but it doesn't matter. I have no real hope of escape. Cole sits in the back seat with swimming black eyes. And that's the end. Sorry, not sorry about the cliffhanger. Happy Halloween, friends. May your costumes be sparkling and your cups never run dry. Tune in next week for the story To Hell and Back, the first real non-introductory episode to Olivia's Corner. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit that subscribe button in the bottom so that you get a notification as soon as I notify you. Since I'm reading you one short story a month, the plan is for it to be the first week of the month. Lucky you, since this is the last week of the month when I'm introducing them, and next week is the first week of the next month, you get 2 back-to-back! Thanks for showing up, and I'll see you next week. Movie quotes. Tune in next week for, Thanks for showing up and I'll see you next week.